ask that?
And it's about the subject of the coup in Niger. ECOWAS also saying they will have a meeting on Thursday to make that decision, because the decision was they want to move troops to Niger. We've had a lot of critics from civil society and also those in the security sector, but also citizens in the West African sub-region worried about the lack of security as well as the vulnerability of the borders of the various countries in the sub-region. Why are we having this sort of instability? Let's hear from a former executive director for WANEP, now works with the UN or consults for the UN, and Dr. Emmanuel Bombande is giving us some comments on the subject.
Happening that you are calling an inflection of a wound on itself is related to the lack of the political will for the type of reforms that would have updated these tools for deployment by ECOWAS. So we are using old tools to respond to unprecedented crises that we've never witnessed.
Now, Mr. Safwaje, the route of ECOWAS, the position of ECOWAS, is that the best way that it should?
Quick one, I want to do something. I mean, a texter has just drawn my attention to a word I used. Maybe it wasn't intentional.
What word did you use?
Hold on. Maybe it wasn't intentional. That is not what I sought to communicate, that Mahama is useless, no? I mean, if it was my father, I would be so proud. I was talking about the whole venture being useless. I would never. So if it didn't
so
come out,
yes,
if it didn't come out as I expected it to come, that's not what I mean.
It's good to be magnanimous.
Now, I have a quick up.
So you do agree that you've been unsavory? Please go ahead and answer my question. Go ahead. So the instability we have in the sub-region, the decision of ECOWAS to move into Niger, is that the right way? And then Thursday, that meeting.
I will do that. I have a good friend, Stephen Osei Echan, who is contesting for the UTAC president in Winnipeg, and the elections is tomorrow. I wish him well. He was my co-GRASAC president.
You can do that at the end of
No, look, there is this whole issue rising in Africa. And for me, I want to base my argument on a long-standing history of the French assimilation with the Francophonies in Africa. So if you notice, most of the coup d'etats, most of the wars, most of the things that are happening, are mostly not from the Francophones, largely. I mean, but the French-speaking countries, because of the policy of assimilation by French, a lot of these things are happening. Why? Because, you see, when you rule people, you impose decisions, you impose the right, you impose a lot of things on people for a long time, the people tend to rebel and they tend to want their freedom. And that is one of the major things that is happening. Now, there have been...
Say that again.
I said, when you impose your decision, you rule people, you suppress people for a long time, the people will want to rebel.
You mean the leadership of the countries, the presidents, etc.?
No, I'm drawing a line between the French colonies in Africa, the Francophonies, because of the policy of assimilation that they have been using. And most of them are trying very hard to break away from some of these yokes. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of these things are happening. And when you pick them up, and I was in Niger not long ago, and I routed through a lot of the places that some of these things are happening. So if you see all these areas, they are boundary border countries and along the Sahel area, largely to say because of, learning from each other and picking one or two lessons, because this one Niger, Mali did and it was successful. Burkina Faso did and it was successful. Now you move to Niger, so you see the roots and the route is coming. Now there is a second leg of it, where you see the influence of US and Russia in some of this area. When you look at Niger, most of them were hoisting the flag of Russia. I don't know why they are doing that. But you see, you would see US having 2 military bases in Niger, trying to take over Niger, trying to influence Niger, trying to control Niger. Because look, Niger has a uranium deposit so huge in their country. And majority of the uranium deposits they have in their country are being traded by France and the Europe. If Russia is able to successfully assure these people of protection and security and better livelihood, it is obvious that these people will want to rather do business with Russia as against US or Europe or France. So it is a whole lot of complicated international politics and power play. And I think that ECOWAS is gradually not hitting and biting the way they're supposed to bite.
What do you think ECOWAS should have done?
You see, most often than not,
Is the accusation rather?
No, most
Mr. Safwaji, not that we've had the leadership of some of these West African countries. For example, in Niger,
you see,
the decision was made to amend their laws to make sure that he goes for a third term. So it's not a matter, whilst there's the other side of the geopolitical conversation about Francophone, Anglophones, etc., and whether it's the US or Russia with their Wagner forces, or we're also talking about bases elsewhere. The decision lies with the West African leaders who seem to be poorly governing their countries. That's a basic matter. Is that not it?
From my background, I do not want to limit it to only West Africa, even though we're having some of these challenges in only West Africa. The African Union, the AU, and West Africa, ECOWAS flows from AU. It is one of the 8 regional blocks that AU recognizes. The ECOWAS, the COMESA, the IGAD, the SADC, and all of them. So you see, these people largely, they look at practices that are happening elsewhere that the leadership of Africa is not able to clamp on them. We have Cameroon, Paul Biya, been in government for more than 30 years. Chad, mention them. The Horn of Africa, the Central Africa, check them. And African Union has not been able to be hard on the decisions. When you confront them, they bring in the argument of sovereignty. I agree, they are sovereign people. So if the people goes to parliament and decide that we would extend the years to 3 years, I mean, AU has a little to do. But see, until the leadership are able to put a certain benchmark, a certain decision, a certain regulation down, we are going to see most of some of these things.
So you're worried about the volatile situation?
And that is why ECOWAS is not able to hit the way we are expecting it to hit, because the mother body AU is not able to hit on some of these issues. When it happens, they go through the diplomatic route, and largely the diplomatic route do not end in where they are expecting to. It happened in Togo, it happened in Burkina Faso, it happened in Mali. All these things, what has ECOWAS been able to do? They've made some, I mean, every day they give some deadlines, they give some timelines, we are not able to meet them, and the coup perpetrators call their bluff. And for me, I have not seen anything seriously that has been done. We see military juntas and leaders now transforming to diplomatic leaders. So if I'm in my country, I can also do that. After 2 or 3 years, I can organize an election and come to power. And that is the problem we must be worried about.
And Adam, at the end of the day, if you take the way these countries have been governed, these military overthrowers or the juntas, they are supported by the citizens. You go to Niger, Burkina Faso, they're on the street supporting the military. That speaks volumes about the quality of governance that they got from their leaders. It's not about whatever only France does, or let's say Roland, the United States or Russia does.
Roland,
should we be worried as a country?
Yes, I think that we should be worried, and I have been worried for a long time. Because, Roland, what is happening within the sub-region and maybe on the entire African continent is something that we should be very, very worried about. Because, but before that, let me establish that I believe in democracy. I believe that democracy may not solve all our challenges, but it is still the best alternative to what whatever we have. Better than military dictatorship and all of that. I believe that, yes, I would prefer the ballot to the bullet. I will on any day prefer a democracy that doesn't even work to a military dictatorship that works, because people's freedoms and liberty is what we must prioritize. And so it's important to state that I believe in democracy. However, What is happening in Niger and all the other West African countries where we have all these issues with the attempted coups and then successful ones is simply because of bad governance. Roland, citizens, especially young people, are beginning to lose trust and confidence in their leadership. Not too long ago, I was in a conversation with a political science lecturer who conducted a research about the confidence of Ghanaians in state institutions. And surprisingly, people had more confidence even in their religious leaders than they do in their political leaders. And
that's worrying.
Very worrying that right from the assembly level, the district assembly level, assembly member, unit committee assembly members, to the presidency, many people, many Ghanaians said they had no confidence in their leaders, and they assumed that their leaders are working for their personal interests and not for them. Now, when you have people believing these things, then it gives you cause to worry, because that is what motivates. And I'm a student of history and political science. I'm also a student of public policy. I know that what is happening in Niger and Burkina Faso and across the West African sub-region should be a cause for all of us to worry, and especially for those in government. Because what you see today, the level of hopelessness, especially among young people, that Roland, not too far away from your studio, you drive, get to even in front of the Flagstaff House, 50 meters away from the Flagstaff House, you see the traffic light. Young people, some are supposed to be in school. And they are hawking. Today is Tuesday. They are hawking sachet water and other petty things to survive. So I ask myself, many of them, young people, 14, 15, 12, 10 years, some of them are waiting for your car to stop at the traffic light so they can clean your windscreen for you to give them something little to survive on. So I ask myself, today they are 12 years, they are 15 years. In 5 years' time, when they are 19, 20, and they cannot stand there to do what they are doing, what would they do to survive? Maybe the next time what they will do is that when they stop you, it will not be with a rag to clean your windscreen, but it will be with a weapon to snatch the car away from you. Because the disparity, you see, what we see, and all these problems is even worse now, because when you read the recent World Bank reports, where they said over 800,000 Ghanaians have fallen into the poverty bracket. So what we have today is that you have about 2.99 million Ghanaians who are living under the poverty line. It tells you that our economic situation is
but why are you raising the Ghana situation? You're saying I'm raising
the Ghana situation because there's an adage, a local adage, that when your neighbor's beard is on fire, right, fetch water and put by yours, if that is right. What I'm saying is that I'm raising the Ghana situation because I am in Ghana. I interact with young people. I always say that I am one of the young people in politics who spends time with young people, whether in the ghettos, whether in the churches, whether in schools, and all, just trying to understand what they think about this country. Where we are today, especially with the kind of governance that we have seen over the last 7 years, the situation is terrible. And this should be a cause for us to worry. So, for example, people are looking for just something for 3 square meals. And I can tell you that today, to be able to afford 3 square meals a day in Ghana is luxury. Roland, as a young person, to afford 3 square meals for many young people, it is luxury.
What's that got to do with Niger?
It is. So I'm telling you that these are the things that led to the Niger situation. And so when President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia, the people in charge of our state, so imagine, let me give you a practical example. Imagine a young person who for the past 1 week or 2 has struggled to put food on the table, then wakes up to the report that millions of Ghana cedis, 131 million, has been spent on maintenance of vehicles at BOG. That same young person wakes up to the report that $58 million has been spent on the National Cathedral project, a project that will not bring food on the table, and they see what is happening in the sub-region, it becomes a motivation for them. I believe that coup is not the way to go. We must always ensure that we protect the democracy we have. But what is happening in the other countries should be a lesson, especially for the insensitive leadership that President Akufo-Addo is providing here. We must learn from our neighbors.
You can't say because of that, it's the same situation that...
Oh, I'm telling you that. No, but you see, Roland, no, just before he comes. No, just he comes. Just give me 30 seconds. Just he comes. Let me tell you, the reasons why some of the citizens are protesting... If you do the 30
seconds, you will not do the last one.
No, so 1 minute then. So I'm telling you that, Roland, the reasons why people are protesting in Burkina Faso and Niger, some of the conditions for which they are protesting, we face worse situations here in Ghana.
No, Niger, Ghana.
I'm telling you that some of the situations or some of the conditions that they are protesting against, we face worse here in Ghana.
So we should be worried.
We should be worried, and we should start preparing against such things by doing things right.
All right. How do we avert the instability in the region? And what do you make of this comparison? Two minutes of it.
You become extremely simplistic. Extremely. When you reduce some of this outburst in Africa to some of the kind of things he's referring to.
You think he's being, let me use the word pedestrian?
I didn't say that.
No,
I'm not saying that.
I didn't even mention Cecilia Dapa. Don't say that.
Hold on, you see.
I'm just telling you.
Don't stoke fire.
He's talking about a lot of economic conditions, which in their time was no better.
Okay.
Oh, please.
Coup didn't happen.
Please.
Economic conditions in most of these African countries has been so worse, but coup didn't happen. Coup now happens now. There might be a reason, but there are other critical reasons.
Beyond just
some of this economic.
Basum,
Niger,
matters.
President Basum, Niger. They consider him as from the minority tribe in Niger. That his tribe in Niger, are the most minority of all of them. And the majority tribe are in the military. And they feel that it is not right for somebody from such tribe to rule them. Okay. It is a reason.
So my question...
The uranium is a reason. Oh, hold on. You see, it is the simplest thing you can do.
So he's concerned about the economic conditions.
Yes. No, hold on.
Even it's a stable Ghana.
It is like telling me that a lady...
So we shouldn't be worried.
No, hold on. It's like telling me that a lady in Legon
with millions of dollars
has no money to buy land.
Are keeping.
So he's going to sleep with a boy to get money to buy land. That's
not what we said.
No, that's what he's trying to do. So because of economic reasons...
That is a personal decision. We are saying...
Listen, Adam, you are making this thing too...
So you are saying he's simplifying the matter.
Cecilia Dapa, let's talk about it.
He made another point about the confidence of Ghanaians in state institutions. It is important to me.
That's the Afro barometer.
I get worried too. But some of the reasons and some of the problem is John Mahama.
Oh, please.
Yes.
The Afro barometer was conducted during the Akufo-Addo.
No, but the reason is John Mahama. Yes, you know why. When you disrespect the court,
right?
When you disrespect the Electoral Commission, when you disrespect all these state institutions,
which court?
The Afro barometer is due to John Mahama.
How do you expect the Ghanaian, the ordinary Ghanaian, to have confidence with them?
A research conducted under your
government. Mahama is causing that.
Roland, a research. But I have two birthday requests.
I want to do
something. No, you keep it. Let me read.
Roland, two birthday requests.
Roland, I want to comment on the
Triddles.
No, but I have
today you have been commending many people. So Triddles says the MPP led by the president don't have what it takes to inspire confidence in Ghanaians. And it will take the government of John Dramani Mahama from the wilderness to take Ghanaians out of the wilderness to the promised land. As for ECOWAS, the least said about them, the better. And then, okay, so we have this one from... We have this one also. It says it is pathetic that the government spokesperson on the panel claims that the Saglemi housing project is a mess left behind by the former government. And therefore, the Akufo-Addo-led government is justified in abandoning it because of a court case. This mentality leads to massive wastage of our financial resources, leaving us poorer. And then I have this one from Raphael Osebunsu. Raphael, good morning to you. He says that we should all know that Ghana needs to be treated fairly. Raphael, good morning to you, and thank you for the message. You say, please read my messages today. So, okay. Okay, so that's Alhaji Hamza Pig Farm. The difference between JM and the current president is that JM did not demolish 21 houses for our judges. Scholarship Secretariat was also not demolished. Yes. Passport Office was not demolished. And now you tell us that among these two, who is visionless? We also have this one from Randolph Zichu. Now, Mystic Wonder, thank you also for the message. And, well, let me cash out. Sure. Let me cash out. Why? Now, so we have to cash out. Make sure that you memorize this short code. We're talking about star 439 hash. Star 439 hash. And you get a prompt, so you choose any of them. And so let's do the draw, star 439 hash. They are giving me messages. It's a birthday and things like. Okay, so 439. Are we ready? 2, 3, 1, draw. First one. We have 0242272 holder. That's the number. Who is the lucky winner? First of 2 for the morning. We'll try and call them if it's possible. And then also, let's do the second draw. 3. Okay. Can we go? 3, 2, 1, draw. So we have the bearer of this number, 0245689 winning. Okay, if we have any of them on the line, you wanted to say.
I want to comment.
So we'll call the. I
want to comment the
Get Fan Boss.
Get Fan Boss.
Is it the same person who was caught on tapes? Is it the same or is not?
I'm commending the Get Fan Boss. You see, Roland, what is important for me
forward
is the support for education. And so far, this man has been so splendid. This year alone, just test it.
Please, we have the caller.
4,279 students, which is about the.
You see the one who allowed the Get Fan to be securitized.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
Good things that is
happy birthday to Augustine Desire, Joje from Ketu North. It's coming from Ede Magbana. Idi Mohayuddin, it's your birthday. It's coming from Nana Safweje. And then Milex Aaron from Ketu North, but you're staying in the US. Amoda Hamidu as well. Mani, good morning to all of you. And the Get Fan Boss, I'm told. Is it the same person that was called? Do you have the caller?
7 years. Get Fan has done nothing
not
in the
yet.
educational
Do we have the second one?
Apart from the small scholarships.
Okay, not yet. Okay, so we have. Thank you, gentlemen. And we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have more right here on the show.